Do you remember Buckyballs? Buckyballs and their sister product Bucky Cubes were launched in 2009. Hailed as a remarkable fusion of science and entertainment, it was believed that these magnetic balls would help inspire interest in the STEM fields in younger generations. And in some ways that was true. Buckyballs were the first in a new wave of toys that implemented science into kids' playtime. However, as with the first of anything, Buckyballs also had a few hiccups along the way. It seems that a few over-curious children found out when ingested, the Buckyballs were super bad for you if you decided to eat them. They would get trapped in the GI tract, and in many unfortunate cases, they caused intestinal pinching in small children. These magnets were small enough to be swallowed and also strong enough to get stuck. In 2012, the Consumer Product Safety Commission, or the CPSC, banned them, and they were off the market until 2018. So, a rare bit of good news for science toy enthusiasts and fans of eating magnets. Water rockets. Water rockets are a great way to enhance your fun in the sun. In 2001, however, over 100,000 of the toys were recalled. According to the CPSC, 5 substantial reports were made of children being injured while playing with the rocket, including one child who was struck in the head after launch. The reports claimed that while the warning on the product informed consumers to stand clear of the toy during launch, they were not made aware of just how erratic and unpredictable the product could be after it rocketed into the sky. The CPSC found these claims to warrant a recall, but many outside observers pointed out that perhaps the problem was leaving children unattended with a toy that had the word rocket right in the name. Over 20 years later, however, the world may never know. Slip and slide. If you grew up anytime after 1961, you certainly remember the slip and slide. This summertime toy kept you cool in one of the coolest ways possible, bringing the power of the water park to your backyard. Slip and slides were the envy of every kid on the block for generations. Apparently, though, it was not just the kids who wanted in on the fun. In 1993, the CPSC released a statement that only children should be using the backyard water slides. It seems the adults at the party just could not resist joining in on the slip and slide action, and enough of them got hurt that the government had to remind them that it was a kid's toy. When it comes to at-home water park shenanigans, the official ruling is that the grown-ups should stick to the sprinkler and a lawn chair. Fondue sets. Fondue was all the rage during the 1960s and 70s. There was so much to love about fondue parties. Melted cheese, the social element, the portability of the fondue pot itself. There was one big thing people did not love about fondue though, and that was just how easy it was to burn your house down. Fondue pots were dangerous because they were so portable. The food was heated by an open flame directly beneath the pot, and it was pretty easy to tip it over or spill it and cause yourself a whole problem. The two primary fuel sources, alcohol and sterno, also had their own unique fire hazards. Alcohol fuels could easily burn bigger and hotter than anticipated, causing burn and fire dangers to anything nearby. Sterno fuel, on the other hand, could be hard to stamp out after it had been lit. If it spilled, the fire could only be put out by smothering it. In the end, the CPSC ruled that Billy Joel in fact did not start the fire, but rather his fondue pot did. Electric blankets. This one may come as a shock to some of you, but did you know that electricity and blankets don't mix? Electric blankets may seem like a nice luxury, but for many consumers, they are more trouble than they are worth. Gaining increasing popularity after World War II, electric blankets seemed to be everywhere by the 1970s, and while people loved the comfort they brought, they also came with some high-level risks. According to our pals over at the CPSC, electric blankets have some hefty issues. Electrical shorts were the cause of some of these problems, as users were reporting shocks and electrical fires when they used their blankets. They also had a tendency to overheat, causing severe burns in the users and, you guessed it, getting hot enough to light on fire. Boom! That's 2 fire hazards back to back. Those mid-19th century inventions sure were awesome when they weren't actively trying to light the world on fire, weren't they? Lawn darts. Lawn darts may be the most famous example of the product that, in retrospect, should have been banned before they were sold. The basic premise of the original design was there was a large target one would lay out on the grass, and then the players would throw giant sharp darts at it. There's absolutely no way this could go wrong, right? Well, surprise, surprise. people started getting hurt almost immediately. The toy was released in the 1950s, but despite people being injured right away, the CPSC did not ban the sale of the product until 1988, when a 7-year-old boy suffered a serious head injury. After this, not only did the commission order the immediate ban of their sale, but they recommended that all lawn dart sets be destroyed right away. While that may sound like a drastic response, it only takes one glance at the game to see that this should have happened decades earlier. Seriously, who thought giving kids murder darts and sending them out to the backyard was a good idea? Hammocks. Nothing says rest and relaxation quite like a shady hammock. However, according to our friendly neighborhood CPSC, hammocks are all sorts of dangerous. Mini hammocks or baby hammocks were found to violate infant sleep safety standards and needed to be pulled off the shelves immediately. The full-sized hammocks were not immune to the dangers either. In several brands of hammocks, the welds were said to be prone to failure, making them a significant falling risk. So if you were planning on lounging in a hammock and enjoying the warm weather, you might want to consider tying it to a couple trees the old-fashioned way. Beanbag chairs. Once considered the pinnacle of basement gaming and TV watching comfort, beanbag chairs have had an unfortunate fall from grace in recent years. In 2015, a recall was issued on many beanbag chairs on the market due to, interestingly enough, a suffocation and choking risk. Many of the chairs could be opened by little children and cause all sorts of issues. Some kids were crawling inside and getting stuck, sometimes even suffocating. Some children were also eating the styrofoam beans inside and were choking on them. So, for all the parents out there, you can no longer leave your children unattended with the furniture. Although, leaving little children unattended at all seems like a bad move in general. Bunk beds. We all know that having bunk beds just gives you so much more room for activities, but even if you're not building your own bunk bed out of the spare parts you found in the garage, we're looking at you, Brennan and Dale. Bunk beds can be pretty dangerous. The obvious one is falling from the top bunk, but according to CPSC records, the most common problems with bunk beds are a bit more surprising. By far, the two most common causes for injury involving bunk beds are the slats under the mattresses breaking and children getting their head stuck between the safety bars. The irony that the safety bars have been the #2 source of bunk bed injuries also makes us forget how scary it must be that the beds can unexpectedly break out from underneath you. Almost. Deep fryers. From homemade donuts to french fries to an interesting way to cook up the Thanksgiving turkey, there were dozens of great reasons to keep a home deep fryer. Our friends at the CPSC have a few reasons why you should pump the brakes before making that particular purchase. Nearly every brand of deep fryer has had a recall on one of their products. Some of them just get too hot and are dangerous to touch. Others were fire hazards and would burst into flames without notice. What's the problem, you ask? If you can't stand the heat, get out of the kitchen, right? Well, typically, the heat is supposed to be cooking your food, not burning your house down. So, did we miss any? Hit the comments below and let us know if you have any harrowing tales about the products in this video, and be sure to check out one of the suggested videos next. We'll see you there.